Very good evening, everybody. Hope you all are doing really well. I'm CA Supreet Agrawal, your faculty for ACCA AA, AAA, and law subjects. My dear friends, in the last class, we have completed the question practice of chapter number 11, which is fraud, laws, and regulations. And in this session, we are going to take up chapter number 12, which is test of control. Also, we are going to go up to chapter number 13 also, which is communication on internal control. My friends, these two chapters are based on the concept of internal controls, and I hope that by now you must be aware that how much important is the topic on internal controls for a double examination, because test of controls and internal controls frames or forms one part of the syllabus which is very important for your examination as well, be it for objective type question or the descriptive type question. For both type of questions, these two chapters are going to be important. Okay, so let's quickly go there. So it's starting from page number 70. Chapter number 12 is from page number 70 to 91, and page number and chapter number 13, communication or internal control, is from page number 92 to 104. So let's go to page number 70 first. Okay, let's go to page number 70 first. Okay, see, these two chapters have a little different style of solving, so we will be following that part. Okay, so when we talk about this chapter, which is chapter number 12, test of controls, let's see what kind of questions are there. So there are 5 MCQ questions. Okay, then there is one question which is in the form of descriptive type question. So what I'll suggest is, let's solve the descriptive type question for this one, because MCQ questions are very direct and you can easily solve it. Okay, then third one is again a descriptive type question, and this is, in my opinion, is the most important question of this particular chapter. So let's take this one, which is going to be very important. Now you can solve the 5 MCQs that are given, as well as the first descriptive type question, and if you face any trouble, please feel free to let me know. I would be happy to assist you over there. Okay, so let's take up this question, which is question number 3. Okay, Epson company. But before we go further, let's first read the requirements like we always do, which is list the procedures which should be in operation in the purchase system to exercise controls over the purchase and receipt of goods. So we have to discuss about the procedures, and we have to just list, not explain, not justify, just list down the procedures. Okay, just list down the procedures to exercise control over purchase and receipt of goods and the recording and settlement of liabilities. These are very important questions for you, and that is why you should take care that this procedure is very well known to you. This is of 10 marks, that is 5 marks each. Then comment on specific deficiencies which might exist in Epson company's purchase system and give recommendations for improvement. So we have to discuss about deficiencies, and we also have to give recommendation. You know, a lot of students make this mistake that they identify the deficiencies but they do not give the recommendation, and that is why they do not score the full marks over here. So this question is of 20 marks. I hope the requirement is clear. I hope the requirement is clear. So now we can go for the detailed discussion of the case study. Okay, so you work in the newly established internal audit department of Epson company, okay, which supplies frozen seafood to supermarkets. Okay, so I am in the internal audit department. Okay, the accountant has provided you with the following information about the purchase system. Your inquiries about this system indicate that there are no relevant procedures other than those described. Okay, now requisition and ordering. Sales representative raised 2-part purchase requisition. The buying department raises 3-part pre-numbered purchase orders. These are authorized by the buyer. The first copy is sent to the supplier, the second to stores, and third is filed in the buying department. Let's try to understand this. Okay, sales representative raised 2-part purchase, that is 2 PRs are issued. Okay, the buying department raises 3-part pre-numbered purchase order, 3 POs. Okay, 1 goes to supplier that this product is needed, second goes to stores that this would come and you need to accept the delivery, and third is filed with the buying department that this is the requirement that you have placed. Okay, good practice. Now receiving, but see here what is the problem, that PR is in 2 copies, PO is in 3 copies. First of all, the difference is over there. Second is that it is given to suppliers, it is given to stores, it is given to buying department, and it is not given to the purchase department sometimes, right? So that is again a very big deficiency. Now on receipt of goods, the good quality and quantity is checked immediately, and if unacceptable, the whole consignment is refused. Whole consignment, even if 10 copies are ordered and 8 are correct, 2 are wrong, whole consignment is refused. That is also a wrong practice. That could result into ceasing of operation or non-performance of operation sometime, right? So that could also happen. Now if accepted, a two part goods GRN is raised. Okay, so two GRNs are raised. Okay, if the goods received match the PO, the top copy of the GRN is filed in numerical sequence with the PO attached. Okay, if the goods received match the PO, the top copy of the GRN is filed in numerical sequence with the PO attached. Okay, the bottom copy is sent to the accounts department and filed pending receipt of invoice. Okay, one copy is attached with PO, second copy goes to accounts department and filed pending receipt of invoice till the time invoice is received. In the event of a part consignment, the GRN both is kept with the PO until the order has been fulfilled. Okay, so this is for full delivery, and for part delivery again two GRNs kept with PO until fulfillment. Now the problem with this approach is, if tomorrow we say that there is some problem that is faced, okay, then the PO, both the POs are with the both the GRNs are with the PO only, and the person, the accounts department is not aware, that there has been a PO or GRN that has been made, right? So that is very, very important here. So the accounts department will not be aware about the GRN inquiry in case of part delivery. Now recording. All invoices received for goods are matched against GRN before recording details in the detailed purchases listing. Okay. Match between invoice and GRN. Okay, match between invoice and GRN. All these notes needs to be saved. That is why I have kept the auto save on. Okay, the invoices GRN attached are kept in a pending payment file until the month end in the alphabetical order. Okay, now payment. Every month end, a purchase clerk prepares a payment requisition, which is PR. Okay, this is not purchase requisition, PR. For each supplier, the invoices in GRN are stapled to the PRs, which are then authorized for payment by the buyer. A payment listing including supplier's bank details is prepared by the clerk, checked by the buyer, and given to the chief finance officer for signature and delivery to Ipsen's bank. Okay, CFO reviews it. Okay, buyer checks it and prepared by the clerk. Okay, so I hope you have understood the requirement of this question. The requirement is what procedures you will have to list the you have to list it down to have the control over the purchase department, receipt of goods, the recording and settlement of liabilities, and comment on specific deficiencies. So here segregation of duty would play a major role. Comment on specific deficiencies which might exist in Ipsen company's purchase system and give recommendations for improvement also. This is a very important question. Okay, here's the answer also that we will be reading later on, and there would be deficiencies along with the recommendations that we will be doing. Okay, after this there is one more question, but before that let's solve this very important question, which is the third one. Okay, just in case if you face any trouble, please feel free to let me know. We will be happy to discuss it. Okay, so let's take 10 minutes. Please answer this question, then we will be discussing about the queries and we will read the suggested answer also. Thank you. Okay, so I hope the answer is done. If there are any queries, please feel free to let me know. Yes, I can read your chats. Please tell me if there are any queries. Please feel free to let me know. Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. So you must have written about the deficiencies and the recommendations also. Okay, and did you list down the procedures that would help you to have control over the purchases, sales, liabilities? Okay, great. Let's match your answer now. Okay, so to ensure that goods cannot be ordered without authorization, there should be written orders are required for all purchases. So not just orders, written purchase orders. All orders are authorized before being placed. So yes, all orders are authorized. That is very important by the buying department or the relevant personnel. Duties of requisitioning and authorizations are segregated. So segregation of duty, like we said. Then orders are pre-numbered and sequentially accounted for. Yes, pre-numbered and sequentially accounted for. And then copies of authorized orders are retained on file. So copies are retained. Okay, very simple. To ensure that goods cannot be received without authorization, GRNs are matched with orders before the goods are accepted, and there are adequate procedures to deal with part delivery of orders. In this case, what was the procedure? To not send GRN to accounts department, right? That was the procedure. Now, to ensure that goods cannot be received without a liability being raised, goods received are recorded immediately on receipt. Goods received, these all points are taken from the question only. That is why there is no much explanation that is required, right? So goods received are recorded immediately on receipt. Yes. GRNs are pre-numbered and sequentially accounted for. Invoices are recorded immediately on receipt after GRN, right? After GRN received by accounts. Invoices are matched with GRNs before processing. That is done two-way match. Unmatched GRNs are followed at regular intervals. Goods received are inspected as to quality. That is done by the receiving department. The accounts department receives a copy of all GRNs. Yes, not part delivery ones, however. Okay, then there is segregation of duties between receipt, recording votes and ordering, and invoice processing. Okay, great. Now recording and settlement of liabilities. Now my dear friends, do you need to write the exact answer here? No, you can just mix the answer. You can just list down the procedures. Even if you do not give these headings, it is appropriate. Do not worry about it. Just in case if you miss out on giving the headings, that is also appropriate, but it would be a little better practice if you give the headings and then write the bullet points. Okay, and here there are, okay, first of all let me correct the numbering. It's 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and then there are 8 more. That is total 15 procedures. Do you need to write all 15? No. Even if you write 5 to 7, that is also perfectly fine. Now recording, but it should cover all the aspects. Now recording and settlement of liabilities. So to ensure that a liability cannot be raised for goods not received, all invoices are matched to GRN before being processed. All invoices are processed on receipt only. There are adequate procedure for short delivered or returned goods. Yes, the GRN is not sent. Outstanding orders are followed up at regular intervals. To ensure that suppliers cannot be paid for goods not received, invoices are authorized for payment by the appropriate authority. So generally the payment is issued after the CFO approves it. Payment signatories examine authorization and invoices. Suppliers' statements are reconciled to individual supplier balances. Now to ensure that suppliers cannot be paid incorrect amounts, invoice prices are checked and agreed. Invoice calculations, extensions and additions are checked. Invoices are cancelled on payment. See, these are certain procedures that are written in the hypothetical manner, that is they have assumed it, but even if you write what is given in the question, that is also perfectly fine. Individual suppliers balances are regularly reconciled to supplier statements. Procedures exist to deal with credit notes dues. This is a hypothetical point. What they have done is they have given a scenario. Disputed items are followed up promptly and disputed items remain unpaid until the dispute is settled. With this, what we have done is we have answered the first requirement. We have answered what? We have answered the first requirement. Now we have to answer this one, and this is an important question also, which is comment on specific deficiency which might exist. Okay, so let me read out the deficiencies and you tell me the recommendation that should be there. Unfulfilled orders are not followed up at regular intervals. As a result, this might be a deficiency. As a result, there may be delays in obtaining important supplies. Goods may be accepted for old superseded orders which should have been cancelled. So what should be done? What should be done? There should be a proper follow-up procedure. That recommendation should be that there should be a proper follow-up procedure for the purpose of unfulfilled orders, and if they cannot be fulfilled, they should be cancelled on a timely basis. So unfulfilled order should be regularly reviewed. Explanation should be sought where the order is overdue and take appropriate action, which might be cancellation also, which might be cancellation also. Okay, now unmatched GRNs are not followed up regularly. GRNs may remain, let me just write the risk here. Unmatched GRNs are not followed up regularly. GRNs may remain unmatched because there's a delay in receiving goods. So there might be a difference between the GRN and the invoices. In fact, the goods that have been not received or part received, the GRN is not transferred to the accounts department also. Second, the invoice has been incorrectly matched to another GRN, that could also happen, and the invoice has been mislaid also, that is miskept also, misappropriated also. Now, what should be done? Unmatched GRNs are not followed up regularly, so there should be a proper system of following up of unmatched GRNs, and there should be a regular review of the GRN against the invoices and to ensure that whether the liability is booked correctly or not. So unmatched GRN should be reviewed regularly and any unexplained items followed up and corrected where necessary. Okay, now third one. Invoices are not recorded until they are matched with a GRN. Of course, it is not sent to the accounts department only. Any invoices lost before matching would therefore go unnoticed. Any invoices lost before matching would therefore go unnoticed, right? So invoices should be registered as soon as they are received and allocated as a sequential number. Now, suppliers are paid on invoice without reference to the supplier's statement. Discrepancies could therefore go unnoticed. So suppliers' statement should be reconciled on a regular basis to the individual suppliers' balances also, that whatever they were supposed to be paid, whether they have been paid that amount only or is there any extra payment. This is a little different question, no? You might be feeling that this is something that we have not studied about, but that is the beauty of this question, that it is checking your exact knowledge of the internal controls, your exact knowledge of the recommendations for the internal controls. That makes this question very, very different, and that is why I am solving it in the live class. Even if you solve other questions in the mode that you are solving and I am just resolving the queries, that is perfectly fine, but for this question we need a live session so that I can highlight the points that you do not need to miss. Now, invoice prices and calculations are not checked. It is a matter of course. Of course, incorrect amounts could therefore be paid. So there should be a proper system of approval for the purpose of payments. That is, payments would only be released after due authorization. So all details on invoices should be checked before this invoice is authorized for payment. This should be checked by evidence, by initials or a stamp. If the signatory signs the payment listing without reference to supporting documents, unauthorized payments may be made. So there should be a proper review by the signatory whether the payment is being made to the correct person or the correct amount of the outstanding balance only. So the payment listing for the signature should be accompanied by the authorized PRs and approved invoices only, and it should be reviewed. Invoices are not cancelled after payment, so it is possible that they could be paid twice. So invoices should be stamped paid after payment. That is very, very important. Now, do you need to write the exact points? No. See, what you need to write here is, number one, no invoice, or let me go to very basics. No GRN should be missed without invoice. That is, if there is a GRN, there should be an invoice. Number two, no invoice without a valid GRN. Okay, this is again important. Vice versa, that is, GRN should be accompanied by invoice and invoice should be accompanied by GRN. For every GRN there should be an invoice, for every invoice there should be a GRN. GRN and invoice should match also, should match. Okay, no payment without invoice and no invoice which is not paid or paid twice, and payment and recording should be authorized. Payment and recording should be authorized. That is very, very important. I hope this is clear. Now, with this we have solved this question, and this was a very important question, so you need to understand it. See, there are certain errors here. I'll correct it. It's point number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. But what is more important is the content is fully covered, and now you need to understand that how you need to write the deficiency and the recommendations. I hope you understood it. Now see, the next question is similar only. It is recommend a control to address each of these deficiencies. Describe a test of control should perform to assess if these controls is operating effectively. Describe substantive procedures. Describe the audit procedures required in respect of the year-end accrual. So these are very important. See, deficiency, control, test of control. So these are just repetition of what we have already solved. So that is why this will help you. For the substantive procedure part, when we will go to the audit evidences stage, you will get to know that how do we need to solve this part, because this is something that we have not studied yet. We will be discussing in the audit evidences chapter, so we will be discussing about that there. Okay, and with this we have solved this particular chapter. Okay, now for the remaining questions, please feel free to solve it, and if you face any trouble, please do feel free to let me know. I would be happy to assist you in understanding any of the requirements, any of the questions, any of the keywords, any of the lines that you are not understanding. Okay, but for these two chapters, please do not assume that the content or the chapters or the questions would exactly be from the text that you have already studied, because there could be new concepts, new questions that could be there. In fact, in paper also, whenever this chapter is asked, it is not generally repeated. It is generally new questions, newer set of controls, newer set of risks. So you need to grasp the concept of writing the answer and not just mug up the answer. Okay, that is very important. With this, we have solved chapter number 12. Now in chapter number 13, communication or internal control. This first question, cherry blossom. Okay, then there is oregano company. Okay, this is a very important question, oregano company. Then hummingbird scents. Okay, again very important question. This is of a hotel company. Okay, this requires email writing, deficiencies and everything, and with this chapter would get completed. Again, I would request you that you please sort out the MCQs, and I will be happy to answer the descriptive part with you. Or if you suggest, what I can do is I can also solve the MCQs part of this particular chapter with you. What do you say? Please let me know in the chat box. What do you say? Do you want me to solve the MCQs also of this chapter, or should I solve the descriptive type only and you will solve the MCQs? Of course, we will be solving it after a quick break only. Don't worry about it. Yes, I understand you have solved a question. You might be tired, so don't worry about it. Yes. Okay, no worries. We'll take a break, and what we will do is we will be going for the MCQ questions first, and then we will be going for the detailed question, one single question of this chapter, and that's how we will be completing this. Okay, so let's take a 10 minutes break, then we will be starting with the MCQ part of it. Thank you. Hi my dear friends. So I hope you are back from the break. Please let me know if you are back from the break. Great. Thank you. Okay. So now my dear friends, let's solve the questions from chapter number 13, which is communication on internal control. Here you need to give a detailed understanding to the concepts that we are going to discuss, because this is not about evaluating the internal controls, it is not about recommending the improvements, it is about communication on internal controls to Doshave governance, and that is very very important here. Okay, so let's solve certain case scenarios first, which is first case scenario where there are 5 MCQ. We will solve this one first, then we will go for the detailed questions, constructive response questions. Okay, so Cherry Blossom Company is a manufacturer of custom made furniture. The company, see, I understand that I always say that read the MCQs first, but it's a short scenario, so we can read it. Cherry Blossom Company is a manufacturer of custom made furniture. The company purchases its raw materials from a wide range of suppliers. Below is a description of Cherry's purchasing system. Okay. When production supervisors require raw materials, they complete a requisition form and submit it to the purchase ordering department. Let me write it. Okay, require raw materials, so they complete a PR form and submit it to the purchase department. Requisition forms do not require authorization and no reference is made to the current inventory levels. Okay, so without authorization. Okay, staff in the purchase ordering department use the requisitions to raise sequentially numbered purchase orders. Okay, purchase orders sequential. Okay, on the approved suppliers list, which was updated 24 months ago. Approved supplier list. Approved list 24 months ago. Okay, not minutes, months. The purchasing director authorizes the orders before they are sent to the suppliers. Okay, purchase director authorizes. Okay, when goods are received, the warehouse department agrees the quantity to, when goods are received, the warehouse department agrees the quantity to the supplier dispatch note that accompanies the goods and checks the quality of the goods received. Okay, they do not check it to the PO, they check it to the supplier delivery note. Okay, so this is, I think, a lapse also. Okay, it's not a control, it's a lapse, I feel. Now, if satisfactory are sequentially numbered goods received notes, GRN is completed and a copy sent to the finance department. Okay, purchase invoices are sent directly to the purchase clerk. At the end of each week, he gives each invoice a unique number based on the supplier code and inputs them to the list of individual suppliers using batch controls. Invoices are reviewed and authorized for payment by the finance director. All invoices are paid 60 days after input. Okay, which of the following is not a deficiency in Cherry Blossom's purchasing system? Which of the following is not a deficiency? So everything else is a deficiency. One should be odd one out, which is not a deficiency. Production supervisors complete a requisition form and submit it to the purchase ordering department. This looks fine. So let's see the other. The warehouse department raises a GRN after agreeing the quantity of goods only to the supplier's dispatch note. No, it should be PO. It should be cross reference to PO. That is why this is not the right option. The purchase clerk gives each invoice a unique number based on the supplier code. No, it should not be on the basis of supplier code. It should be pre-numbered. Okay. Payment is made 60 days after the invoice, long system. But there would be confusion between A and D. Which one would you select? Payment is made 60 days after the invoice. Okay, this one, or production supervisor completes a requisition form and submit to the purchase ordering department. Which one? I feel this one, and this is not right. Okay, now second one, if you have any trouble, do feel free to let me know. Now this one, which of the following controls should be used to address Cherry's deficiency in internal control in the purchase ordering department? So deficiencies we have identified. Which of the controls should be used? Requiring authorization on requisition forms, that is definitely required because it is without authorization now. The finance director authorizes the orders before they are sent to suppliers. No, finance director should not. Okay, management sets minimum authorized reorder levels for inventory. Yes, because there should be the urgency. That would help in urgency. This would help in understanding urgency. This would help in understanding urgency. Now the approved supplier list is updated on at least annual basis. Yes, not 24 months ago, not 24 months ago, right? So this should be correct. So that is why 1, 3 and 4 option D would be right over here. Okay. Now cherry blossoms control over cash include. Okay, cherry blossoms control over cash include. Okay, so for control 1 we have to identify, for control 2 we have to identify. Okay, so option A is this, option B is this, option C is this, option D is this. Okay, the financial accountant signing the monthly bank reconciliation prepared by the cash accountant. It should be verification, no. It should be approval, could be. It could be reconciliation, no. Segregation of duty, could be. Let's see. The finance director comparing monthly asset expenditure to budgeted asset expenditure. It is reconciliation, no, because it is to budget, no. Verification, could be. Physical controls, no. Authorization, no. So B option should be the most correct option here. Okay, yes. Now an effective system of internal controls requires appropriate segregation of duty, responsibility for which three of the following should be segregated. So here I always say, remember ARCC. A is authorization, R is recording, C is custody, and again C is comparison, right? So authorization, preparation, no. Custody, yes. Budgetary control, no. Recording, yes. So that is why A, C and E are the correct options here. Now the finance director, this we have already covered in the concept lectures also. Now the finance director has recently discovered that Cherry has been paying suppliers invoices in respect of raw material which had been returned due to poor quality. It has been paid, so it's a big deficiency. You are paying for the goods that you have not received or you have returned. Which of the following controls would have prevented this from occurring? Prevented it from occurring. Okay, not reviewed, not identified, prevented. Comparison of supplier statements with the list of individual suppliers? No. Comparison will not. Prevented. Might detect it but not prevented. Date stamping purchase invoices on receipt? Again, no. Matching of purchase invoice with goods receipt note? Yes. So whatever we have received, we will pay for that. Whatever received, pay only for that. Then matching of purchase invoices, purchase orders, no. So option C is the right option over here. Okay, with this we have solved these things. Now these 5 MCQs. Now let's discuss about Hummingbird Scents Company, right? Hummingbird Scents Company. Okay, we have just taken a break, so please do not expect any break now. Okay, what we have to do is we have to understand that this case study is again a short case study. So what we will do is we will quickly go to read the case study and then we will be going for the requirements also, and then I'll give you 10 minutes to go through the requirements, and then what you can do is you can ask your queries and then we will be discussing about it, and then we will be going for the suggested answer also. Now it is 1st July 2025. Hummingbird Scents Company manufactures and sells luxury toiletries. Okay, the company has been trading for over 20 years. Okay, and its year end is 30th April. So this is after, this is April, May, June. So 2 months after year end. 2 months after year end. Okay, this is always important. Please do this analysis. Hummingbird company sells products to trade customers via its own website. This represents 60% of revenue. Revenue is generated by contracts to supply toiletries to hotels. Below is a description of the sales system. So 60% website, 40% collabs. Now hotel revenue. The hotel revenue is made up of 4 key customers. Hummingbird company has only one sales clerk. Okay, 4 key customers are there. One sales clerk, Brenda, who maintains all aspects of this revenue stream. So no segregation of duty. Brenda receives customer orders, raises sales invoice. So 4 customers, no segregation of duty. Okay, in raising invoices, the sales system automatically inserts the online trade customer prices for products. However, each hotel customer has contracted prices which are lower than the online prices, and hence Brindy manually edits the invoices prior to dispatch. So human error chances are there. It should auto populate from contract again. Now online revenue. New trade customers are set up in the trade receivables master file. Upon passing suitable credit checks and the finance director sets up credit limit at this stage, customers place online order. So finance director, again human error chances are there because finance director sets it. Customer place online orders up to their preset credit limit. They receive an email confirmation the sales order interfaces into the dispatch system. The order number is linked to the customer account number. Goods are dispatched daily with a goods dispatch note which is the reference to the sales order number but are not sequentially numbered. Okay. Hummingbirds dispatch goods via a national courier company, reliable national courier company. However, to reduce cost, they have changed to a cheaper local courier, and some orders have been delivered to customers late. Okay. Trade customers sales invoices are automatically generated by the systems on the day of the online order is placed. The prices are inserted in accordance with the website rates. Occasionally, Hummingbird company makes special offers or discount sales. When this occurs, the master file data has to be amended to ensure that the correct prices are used on the invoices. This task is usually performed by a senior sales clerk. Whenever they give a discount, there is an updated sheet through which the amount would be auto populated. Revenue and receivables records. On a monthly basis, statements are sent to the hotel customers. A number of trade customers have been requesting monthly statements, and Hummingbird company is considering this request. So only hotels receive the monthly statements, the 4 clients. The company only reconciles the trade receivables account at the end of April in order to verify the year-end balance. No monthly reconciliation. No monthly reconciliation. No monthly statements. So now required. As the external auditor of Hummingbird company, write a report to management in respect of the sales system described above, which identifies and explains 7 deficiencies in the sales system. We have already discussed about many, right? Sales system, we have already identified many. Provides a recommendation to address each of these deficiencies. So the recommendations also, okay. 2 marks will be awarded within this requirement for a covering later, okay. And then describe substantive procedures the auditor should perform to confirm Hummingbird company's revenue. This we will solve after revenue chapter, or I would say audit of revenue chapter. It's not FR, right? Solve after audit of revenue chapter. This we will be solving later on. So now we have to just answer this one. Identify and explain 7 deficiencies and provide a recommendation. So we have already identified many deficiencies. Please do it. Take 5 to 10 minutes. Draft your answer in detail, and then we will be discussing about it. I have already identified many deficiencies over here. Okay, so see you in 10 minutes. Okay, my dear friends, so tell me if you have solved this question. Yes, if there are any queries, please feel free to let me know. I would be happy to assist you over here. Yes, please tell me. Any queries here? Were you able to write the deficiencies along with the recommendation? Yes. This is just a repeated question of what we have already solved, right? So let's make a report to the management. First of all, what is more important to understand over here is that whenever you make a report to the management, you have to write in the format of report. See, the requirement says write a report. So follow the reporting format only. Board of directors, member sends company. This is 2, right? This is like 2. This is date. This is salutation that we all study, right? This is subject. This is body of email, and finally this is the closure, right? Very important. Now, audit of Hummingbird sends company for the year ended 30th April 2025, and we are sitting on 1st July. These dates are very, very important here. Please find enclosed the report to management on deficiencies in internal control. This is as per ISA 265, right? Identified during the audit for the year ended 30th April. The appendix to this report considers deficiencies in the sales systems and recommendations to address those deficiencies. You have to mention both. Please note that this report only addresses the deficiencies identified during the audit, and there could be more deficiencies which are not part of the audit. And if further testing had been performed, more deficiency may have been reported. May have been, okay, not shall. This report is solely for the use of management, and if you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to contact us. Yours faithfully, an audit firm. In place of this, you can write the name of the audit firm as well. Now, deficiency and control. Okay, this is the only question that we are going to solve here. So, Brenda, the sales clerk receives customers' orders, raises sales invoice, that is no SOD, no segregation of duty. This is a lack of segregation of duty and could lead to a risk of fraudulent transactions. Control. Another sales clerk should be appointed in the processing of hotel customer transactions so that no one individual takes all elements of the sales cycle. Now, second one, hotel customers have contracted sales prices. However, as online trade prices are automatically loaded into the sales invoices, Brenda has to manually amend it. So, manually means human error could be there, right? There could be human error. There could be chances of human error here. So, as hotel customers account for 40% of revenue, which is a major share, consideration should be given to amending the sales system so that each customer's agreed prices are preloaded based on agreement. So, major or significant, right? Agreed prices as per contract. You can write these words here, are preloaded. Okay. Now, third one, this significantly increases the risk of error, as if Brenda incorrectly increases the sales price. This can lead to a loss of customer goodwill also, and if they are too low, this results in loss of revenue. If this is not feasible, all sales invoices for hotel customers should be double checked by another member. Okay. Now, credit limits are determined by the finance director when a new trade customer is set up in the system. However, these limits could be out of date, resulting in limits being too high and sales being made to poor credit risk, or too low and Hummingbird losing potential revenue. That is, there could be certain errors in determining the credit reports of the customer. So, customer credit limits should be regularly financed by the finance director and updated based on the level of the sales transaction and credit risk. That is, it should not be a one-time exercise. This should be a continuous exercise. Okay. Now, customer orders and goods dispatch note (GDN) are given a number based on the customer account number and order number. These numbers are not sequential, so it might result into certain GDNs being missed or certain invoices being missed, or there might be difficulty in reconciling it later on. So it is difficult for Hummingbird to identify missing orders or delay in dispatch, leading to a loss of customer goodwill. Sales order and goods dispatch note should be sequentially numbered. On a regular basis, a sequence check order should be undertaken to identify any missing orders, that is, whether they are matching or not. Now, Hummingbird, there could be definitely more adjustments, debit note, credit notes here, but that should also be taken care of and a process should be determined. Hummingbird company has changed from a reliable national courier to a cheaper local courier. As a result, orders have been delayed. So, the courier company should be set target with regard to timeliness of dispatches. A review should be undertaken of target dispatch times and actual timings taken by the new courier company. Now, trade customer sales invoices are automatically generated by the system at the same time the online order is placed. However, if goods are not dispatched straight away, customers could be invoiced in advance of receipt of their goods. This is likely to lead to a loss of customer goodwill and the early recognition of revenue in the accounting records, because they are charged as and when the order is placed, even without delivery. The system should be amended so that it links into the dispatch system. Sales invoices should not be raised until goods have been dispatched. Now, this is a little judgmental waste, because in a lot of industries what happens is the money is collected and the revenue is recognized even before the delivery is done. If Hummingbird makes special offers or discount sales, the master file data for sales prices is amended by a senior sales clerk. There is a risk that these amendments could be made incorrectly, resulting in a loss of sales revenue. So when special offers or discounted sales occur, the changes to master file data should be made by the supervisor, and each change is checked by a responsible official to reduce the risk. So instead of the person doing the sales, there should be segregation of duty over there also. In addition, the sales clerk, although senior, is not senior enough to be given access to changing master file data. Otherwise, there could be certain scenarios where they would have changed the price and they would have sold to some near and dear ones to commit a fraud. Now, monthly statements are not sent to trade customers. If statements are not sent regularly, this increases the likelihood of errors and any disputed invoices not being quickly identified and resolved by Hummingbird. So Hummingbird should produce monthly customer statements for both hotel and trade customers and send them promptly. The trade receivable account is only reconciled at the end of the year in order to verify the year-end balances. The trade receivable account should be reconciled on a monthly basis, like we have already written. Now, this one we will be solving later on after studying the chapter on revenue, and with this we have completed chapter number 13 as well. So congratulations to you, we have solved good number of questions here. Okay, you can solve rest of the questions also, and if you face any trouble, please feel free to reach out to me. Now, by this time I would be happy to tell you that we have completed approximately 50% of the syllabus. Now we will be going for the internal audit and audit evidences, but after internal audit a little change would come into the basis of studying, because by now we were solving all the questions, but after this what we will be doing is we will be having certain selected questions that we will be solving, and I would be giving you more of homeworks also that I would be discussing in the next class. Okay, so I hope everything is clear. Just in case if you have any queries, please feel free to reach out to me on any of the modes, be it WhatsApp, be it the application. Okay, so thank you so much. See you in the next class. All the very best.